Good evening, everyone. Happy Sunday. It's the night after UFC 326. I've got a lot to talk about on this one, specifically because of the announcement of the UFC White House card. Got a lot to talk about with that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into it with everyone. I'm gonna try and do about an hour and a half, something like that. Not gonna hang around too long. You know how Mondays are for me. Uh, yeah, back again on the weekend. Hope everyone's well. I'm not going to ask if everyone enjoyed the card because obviously that is a stupid thing to say. Because obviously nobody did. Um, but yeah, what do I say? Apparently my chat function isn't working. So I do. Oh, I'm just going to pull it up here. 1 second, guys. Give me a moment. I'm just going to refresh. Stick with me. All right. Let's hope this works. It may. It may not. What did I say? Do Bronx. If you remember rightly, I also picked Du Bronx. I'm not gonna give myself too much credit for that though, because I did kind of sit on the fence a little bit. I said if Charles feels obligated to stick by the traditional BMF rules, then I felt like he was probably gonna lose the fight. But if he treated it like an actual MMA fight, that Charles Oliveira should win quite handedly. So I guess I kind of got the right. I was on the right track. But how you doing, Chuggins? What's good, man? I got all my picks right. Nice one, man. Every fight on the main card I got right. That's awesome, man. What's up, bro? Still fasting? Yeah, man. I still haven't eaten yet. Still have not eaten yet. I'm glad you enjoyed the card. That's a surprising take. I wasn't expecting anybody to say that. I was really, really bored throughout most of it. There were a few moments, as there often are on these UFC cards. At the end of the day, it's a fight. But Glasgow Rangers equals gay. Yeah, do you know what? Yeah, I saw the stats on that one, yeah, and I didn't watch the game because I don't really watch Scottish football, but I could hardly believe it. I think it was something like 26 shots to one, and then to go on and lose the penalties. Really ugly scenes after the game as well. Um, Scottish football's kind of heating up because there's actually jeopardy now. Usually somebody's about 50 points clear at this stage of the Scottish Premiership season. The fact that they call it that is embarrassing. Um, but yeah, now there's jeopardy. Now every cup matters. Everyone's kind of in contention. The title race is hotter than it's been probably ever. So the needling has started, and I'm all here for it. I'm gonna have another fight soon, but I should have another. Should I have another Muay Thai fight or MMA? It depends on where you're planning on going with it, bro. Did my last comment come through? Because I'm peed off. Um, I'll be honest with you. So what happened is that when I first joined in, my chat function was not working, so I've had to refresh the stream. Hopefully, it's working for everyone. And the sound is all right. Would you mind saying it again? Boxing is clear of the UFC at the moment. Um, I mean, you might actually have a point. They might actually be winning by default. But I mean, what really notable has been happening in boxing really recently? Not that much either. I mean, probably Ryan Garcia's fight has probably been better than or got more attention than anything the UFC's done recently. You might actually have a point. I was about to slap back with that one, but you might be right. How you doing, Cybercop? Oliveira put belt to ass. Also, Max looked like a toddler just getting squeezed and thrown. I thought Oliveira would win by sub, so impressive for Max to survive, but he got spanked. Um, I completely agree with that. I think the BMF belt is officially in the toilet. But I made a kind of a prediction along these lines when the fight was made because my exact prediction was if DuBronx treats this like an MMA fight, he is gonna body him. But if he feels obliged to stand and bang, then I've probably got Max winning. But in truth, and a lot of people are saying that if Max that he was winning the stand up, it was obviously the takedowns and stuff that led to the dominance that he had. But no, the BMF fight is now rightfully in the toilet, and it was a shit fight, total domination. I'm royally pissed. Last night was the night Dana killed UFC White House announcement. Was the final nail in the coffin. Thanks, Dana, for supporting 15 plus years and left us with egg on my face. I can pretty much summarize my feelings on the UFC White House card right now. So we've got a sacrificial American in the main event. We've got Alex Pereira fighting for an interim title that doesn't get against a cheater who doesn't deserve a title shot. And doesn't give us a legit freeweight world champion if Alex Pereira does win. If he loses, his career's in the toilet. We've got Sean O'Malley not fighting Corey Sandhagen for some reason. We've got an undeserving weirdo hobbit with a 2-5 record in the UFC against the worst of all the fighting nerds. And then we've got Bo Nickel, who's shit, versus a guy that was sent back into the regionals not long ago. Why the fuck is he even still here? And we've got Lopez and versus Garcia, which, to be fair, is actually a great fight. But generally, what an embarrassment of a card. I was live in Dougie's corner at the time, and we were all laughing our heads off at it. And actually, we were more in shock because we were laughing at the Cody Garbrandt fight and having a good old time. And then the UFC White House card gets announced, and we're all just in shock. How you doing, Bentover? What's good, man? Charles was winning the stand-up. I think the takedowns were setting it up. When I mean, what were you doing? What are you planning on doing with it? I mean, are you planning on going pro one day? Are you going to be like a Muay Thai fighter, or are you going to be an MMA fighter, or is it all just a lark? That's more what I'm getting at. Gaethje fighting Topuria is a humiliation ritual. Unless it's scripted, like some people are suggesting, and they're going to have this big American hero moment, it's going to be an absolute flatlining. Yo, heads up, I ain't going to hear no BS related to Charles. No, hell no, man. I mean, Charles went out there and did exactly what he should have done. Dominated the fight of his grappling and beat the fucking brakes out off him. I'm shitting on the performance. I thought the fight was kind of boring. Or not, that's incorrect. The fight wasn't boring. It's not what I was hoping it would be. I was hoping we'd get a slobber knocker, but Charles went in there and did exactly what I would do. And it was entertaining from the point of view that it wasn't lay and pray. It wasn't like, it was just domination from start to finish. And when you're expecting a war, it's more disappointing from that standpoint, rather. But was it a mastery of a performance from Charles Oliveira? Absolutely. Frankie Hanky Panky. How you doing, MMA Now 27? What's good, man? Gaethje will win by Rocky Balboa. I'll be honest with you, yeah. If Justin Gaethje manages to win this fight against Ilya Topuria, I'm questioning all of existence. I'm questioning all validity in anything. I'm going to keep it that simple. Because there is no way on earth that he should be winning that fight. No way, from nothing that we've seen. And the one thing that really struck me about this the Charles the Bronx and Max Holloway fight is the whole time I was sitting there thinking, how fucking good is Ilya Topuria? He made both of them look relatively shit, especially Charles. Max was kind of in the fight and doing quite well until he got fucking slept. I'm not using the word slimed. But Max was relatively in the fight, but you felt like the moment was coming when he was going to get absolutely ironed out, and he did. But he made Charles the Bronx look shit. Like with the grappling, with everything. He made him look terrible. How good is Ilya Topuria? And this is what made me so mad about the UFC White House card as well. I get that they have to do Gaethje, he's interim champion and all that shit, but they shouldn't have put themselves in this situation in the first place. It should be Arman, whether they hate him or not. Or fuck the Arman fight. It should be him versus Islam. Because they've both made these two guys look, the guys who fought in the main event last night, look relatively shit. They should be fighting each other. He fully hyped up the announcement and was constantly saying anything is possible when people asked about Conor versus Jones. And then post-announcement, the Devils said they were never options. Well, this is what he's in the game for. I don't really blame him for that. But he made the same mistake with UFC 300. It's this constant hype talk and then not really delivering on what's promised. And that's exactly what the UFC White House card is. It's a disappointment. Out of the 6 fights on the card, 50% of them are pointless. Put Dana and Eddie Hearn on the card. I'd pay to see that. Not going to lie, this would have been kind of the same if he fought Ilya like this. and maybe you could have got a submission on him. Submission might be far. Ilya's way too good. Ilya for me is the most well-rounded fighter in the sport right now. Do you fight MMA yourself? No, I practiced judo and wrestling when I was a kid, but I never fought. I never fought in MMA. But you know, I've never made a movie either, and it still gives me the right to talk shit about it if I feel the need to. If that's what you're alluding to, Taylor. Can Drew Dober finally rest? He's got one more on the. He's got one more on the list. One more on the list. He's basically got to put Jalen Turner in a box, which to be honest isn't as impressive as beating Michael Johnson, in my opinion. Because Jalen Turner is a blown up welterweight. He should be fighting at welterweight. And he's not really done very well. He's had some very questionable losses. So if Drew Dober beats him, I mean, he's completed the set. That's what we want to call it. But no, I think like this meme that obviously everyone keeps going on is crazy. Why was Floyd versus Pacquiao the most sold? I don't know, man. That fight happened about 9 years too late. And the fact that they're talking about doing it again and it is going to happen again is crazy. I'll probably watch it though. Life is about promise only. Just say marriage. No man has ever fulfilled but promised. Exactly. I mean, I don't blame them as promoters for hyping it up a little bit, but you've got to deliver to some degree. I reckon Dana and all of them were sitting around looking at that card and going, we've nailed it, boys. And I reckon to say that the opinion on the UFC White House card is split, I think is an understatement. I think most people are very angry or disappointed at the very least. Should I go 100% into Muay Thai or MMA? I'm at a crossroads. I'm great at striking, but also good at BJJ. If you're good at both, then go for the MMA, bro. You're in a lighter man's weight class as well. So I think it's a requirement that you need to be good at both. It depends. It really depends. I would personally go with the MMA because you should be sharpening those skills at being good at everything. And if you focus on one thing, you're going to get absolutely ironed out by somebody at some point who's better at something than you are. I still say Gilbert Burns won against Hamzat. Not a crazy take. Not a crazy take at all. I think Sean Strickland beats Hamzat Chimaev. Hamzat and Charles' fighting style is way different. Hey, Frank, what's up? How you doing, Ash? Lemos versus Robertson is the co-main event this week. I didn't even know that. I haven't even looked at it. These cards are shit. He's good at BJs. Exactly. Exactly. He set himself up for that one. Hey, Frankie, how was your day? It's been all right, man. I spent most of it with my son. It's been a good one. I took him to a birthday party this morning. He had a good old time. I was obviously following him around a little bit because they went to like a play, like a soft play place. And then I was following him around to make sure he wasn't getting bullied or anything. I was creeping on my own son. But no, he had a really good time, got along with the kids really well. And then I spent the rest of the day with him. It was good. White House card is the biggest card, my ass. Exactly, Babe Laser. It was, first of all, it's 6 fights and 3 of them are trash. And the ones that are good, like I said, Ilya is going to kill Justin Gaethje, or life doesn't make sense. Alex Pereira is fighting for an interim, so you can't even call him a legit freeweight world champion if he does win. And if he loses, heaven forbid, like you've ruined his legacy. And then the rest is, I mean, the only fight I'm genuinely hyped about is the Lopez and Steve Garcia fight, because I think that's a great fight. But should it be on the fucking White House card? No. How you doing, Cowboy? What's good, man? How did you know about Powhatan moving up? Who's your source? It's just logic, mate. If you're Powhatan and you're in your late 30s and you've already won 2 belts, and the only way to separate yourself in the GOAT conversation by everyone else is to be the first freeweight world champion, it makes sense. And he was already looking big. He was looking huge at middleweight. And at lightweight, he still looks big. Sorry, at light heavyweight, he still looks big. So going up to heavyweight made all the sense in the world. Today, India became the world champion in cricket. I saw when you posted those first batting stats when New Zealand let you into bat and you had 200 plus. I knew you had it in the bag. So congratulations. I know how much it means to India. So shout out to you guys. Gone getting unlimited title shots for this. Cheaters prosper, mate. Read comment. Thoughts on happy endings. Best thing in the world, mate. Best thing in the world. And I don't care how they're delivered. They can be delivered in any way, shape, or form, and I'm all for it. Unless it's done by a dude, in which case, each to your own, but not for me. Anyway, sorry, what's Tim saying? Is Tim crashing out? You don't understand the fundamentals of selling. I assume that's for somebody else in the chat. Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, I'm not angry at Dana for lying, essentially, or glazing a little bit, but you're then obligated to deliver to some extent. And I don't feel like they've done that. They've been hyping up this White House card for pretty much a year. It's very clear that they've stalled the rest of the cards throughout the year. It's been a slow start to the year in terms of getting well stacked cards. Outside of the Miami one, which looks really good, the Yeri and Ulberg one, but I'm pretty sure they've only made that card off the back of knowing what they're going to do with the UFC White House card. So it's all, bro. Any chance you heard about Virat Kohli in cricket? Virat has literally, I have. Do you know? I've had so many Indian subscribers come in here and talk about him that I know of him. I'm not a cricket fan, but I used to play it as a kid, and I do respect it as a sport. But I find it generally boring and horrible. T20 is good though. T20 is entertaining. ATP, I don't even care about McGregor. Bro just cokes up and posts some random shit. Yeah, I've stopped caring about McGregor for years. I think pretty much since Habib. Since the whole shit show with the Habib thing where he almost made me support Habib throughout that whole shit show. When he was talking, the trash talk was horrible. The performance was horrible. And since then, I've kind of been off the bandwagon. But I will never forget what he did for the sport. Is the White House card outside? Apparently, it's supposed to be right on the fucking lawn, mate. But it's obviously gonna look UFC-esque. You know, they'll erect some seating. I'm sure it can't be that difficult. White House will probably be in the background. Probably everyone in the Epstein list will be invited. There'll be no commoners allowed to pull up to that card. So yeah, no Indians on the White House card. I was surprised as well. I was very surprised. Frank is a friend to Jeets everywhere. I'm a friend to everyone, mate. Apart from nonces. That's pretty much where I draw the line. Can you help me get an Asian girlfriend? Absolutely, mate. All you've got to do is pull up there and you'll be fine. Be white and pull up there and you'll find yourself a nice Asian baddie. You can't fail. There are still people who think Conor is coming back. I mean, the thing is, yeah, we're all going to watch if he does. But do any of us really care anymore? Like, I certainly, I'll tune in if he pulls up, but I don't care really. He's always insulted his opponents personally. Conor used to do his research, but not so much anymore. I'll tell you something though. The line he said about the UFC treating fighters like cattle and how he's Wagyu was actually quite good. It felt for a second like Prime McGregor was back. Last 5 title fights with unanimous decision. Fighters are sucky, bro. I don't mind the like the thing is we've had some good title fights. Don't ask me to name them. Fights can go to decision and be good. They can be wars. But generally, here's the thing, yeah. On yesterday's card, the fact that the Cody Garbrandt fight, yeah, was by far the most entertaining, and it was an absolute shit show, says it all. We had Abu Dhabi Island. Let's do UFC Epstein Island. That's basically what this is. India doesn't even have a ranked contender. I've spoken about this in the past. I genuinely believe that India will have a UFC champion at some point. I think it's inevitable. It might take 20 or 30 years. But as I've said multiple times on this channel, there's too many of them. And they come from difficult situations. And we know how that tends to go. Imagine UFC on top of Mount Everest. That might be a tricky one. Conor's trash talk is terrible. He made jokes that elementary school kids made against... the Poirier trash talk and the Habib trash talk was terrible. He was much better when he was just going off the cuff and not really planning stuff. And I genuinely think the accent is what made him funny as well. When is the UFC going to Birmingham? Never. It's a shithole. Absolute shithole. If they didn't do it when Leon Edwards was champion, they're never going to do it now. It's an absolute pit stain of a city. If you want to talk about somewhere that's India central as well, Birmingham is basically little India. The White House cam crowd would be full of people from the Epstein files. It's pretty much going to be a who's who of who's on that list. If they bring dung tossing to the Olympics, then India are going to clean up. I mean, they are very good at that. Oliveira fans have been real quiet recently. I'm going to tell you something embarrassing that I did as well. I made a parlay live on the card yesterday when we first got started because my first parlay tanked. It was only $10, but it is what it is. I had a parlay that was worth like $250, and I had the opportunity to cash it out just before the Oliveira fight, and I got cold feet and cashed out for $100, and then Charles Oliveira went on to steamroll him. So I could have made an additional 150, but I've had it go the other way sometimes where I thought, you know what, I should probably cash out now and haven't and lost it. So you take the rough with the smooth. Maybe a woman's champ, and that's a big maybe. That's the one thing about the White House card that is somewhat of an acceptable outcome. The fact that we don't get any women's fights on the card is it well, apart from Bo Nickel and I mean Kyle Dawkins, like what I don't understand. Chael Sonnen undoubtedly had the best trash talk. He did. He goes down as the best trash talker in the game overall. How you doing, Lane? Lane, you absolutely must have cleaned up last night. Lane called an all Brazilian flush, and that's exactly what happened. So shout out to you, Lane, for calling that at the beginning of the evening. I'm looks maxing hard. I'm gonna go on a puss plowing tour. It'd be the best decision you've ever made. You can feel the depression in Birmingham. It's really heavy in the air. Yeah, it's a shithole. It like Birmingham got to like 1970 and just stopped. Imagine saying cricket is a religion, but you're still not the best. I mean, India are always consistently good at cricket, even if they're not winning World Cups and stuff. They're always competitive. You can't say the same for England, who haven't won a World Cup in about 60 years. It's embarrassing. And we invented it. Sorry, they invented it. 2027 Poatan versus Frankie. We're waiting for the moment. Imagine. And the government is shit, but that doesn't make Indians less of a person. As long as they behave well and groom themselves, they're good. Yeah, fair enough. I've got nothing against Indian people. I've got a lot of Indian friends. That's always the get out of jail free clause, you know. Guru hinted at a possible back boxing match a couple of days ago. Who would you want to see him fight? Sorry, Marlboro Reds MMA. I didn't see you in the chat earlier, or I saw you in the chat earlier on, but ended up getting carried away. How you doing? Frankie, are you worried about Brutal? Him and Gio agreed to fight, and Gio is a 10th degree black belt in Muay Thai. Yeah, of course he is. No, I'm not worried about Brutal. I've met Brutal in person, and he's a very stocky fella. I reckon he could do some damage. Chill, buddy. My future wife is Indian. Nothing wrong with that. I dated an Indian girl for like 2.5 years, and she had massive cans, but she was shit in bed. Very selfish. It took me like a year after dating her to get my dick game back on track. Also, what is wrong with the goth mummies? Are they still a thing? Geo is autistic. Brutal is retarded. Retards are the natural predators of the autist. I mean, that should be the fight caption for the fight if it ever happens. I genuinely believe it will happen because I'm going to tell you something about Brutally. Yeah, he will pull up. I'm not sure if Geo will come to England, especially not for those purposes. But I mean, Geo talks a lot of shit and does tend to back things up somewhat. I mean, we remember when he went out at night and was trying to meet that bro. I can't remember who he was, and he was going to fight him on the street. He went out at least. Where's Gilly? I need money. I don't think Giuliano's got the same financial retardation that he used to have. It took a while for me to process that word. I appreciate you, Frankie. Free Pip. How you doing, Pip? What's good, brother? Bro, how does it feel when you talk alone, reading questions, and nobody is in front of you? It took a little while to get used to, you know. It took a while. I'm not sure I'm still used to it. It's weird. Because it's all text to me, but I tell you something, yeah. I imagine what all of you look like in my mind. And you don't want to know what the answer to a lot of that is, because some of you would be outright offended. Frankie, any advice for getting on the Asian dating apps? I don't use Asian dating apps, so I don't really know much about them. What I would say is, if you're going to use Asian dating apps, I would advise that you are in Asia, because if you're using specific Asian dating apps and you're in like America or England, you're just going to get yellow on the outside, white on the inside, which to me is a problem, because we all know that the biggest problem with white women is what's going on inside of them, and their weird vaginas as well. You're wrong, bro, on this. I agree you have to hype the card, but don't lie and say you're gonna have 6 title fights. The thing is, though, we don't know if that could have been a possibility at some point. It is his job as a promoter to hype it, but I will agree with you when I say that if you're gonna hype it to that extent, you have to back it up. And what it shows is how fucking out of touch they are. Because they probably got that 6 fights in front of them and went, "We've nailed it." They genuinely think that that's what the people wanted, and they don't. But I will say this as well, yeah. Opinions are gonna vary. Like, some people are gonna think that card's amazing, other people are gonna think it sucks. I personally am in the most of this is pointless and most of this has been way too overhyped side of the fence, but it could end up being amazing. And on the actual card itself is fine. I just think they've completely fucked up the potential storylines, which I went over at the start. It's disappointing. What's it like to be a streamer? I'm not really a streamer. This is just a community thing for me. I mean, I know I'm technically streaming, but I enjoy it. I enjoy the community aspect of it. Had a great night with the Brazilians and Miami Messi, and it's well overdue. I mean, you do pretty well in the old gambling anyway, but it's nice when you call it outwardly from the start and then you nail it. I train at a local karate dojo, and the facility is so small. The cricket facilities are like thousands of square feet and well maintained. Cricket is generally for rich people. You have to hype the card, but don't lie and say you're gonna have 6 title fights, 300 announcement L, Sphere announcement L. They've been doing this though. This is why, but I kind of put the blame on us as well, because we should have learned from UFC 300. We should have learned from the way they operate. I kind of feel like if you get too invested in this shit and you get burned after all the shit they put us through, it's kind of on us. I'm not saying don't get excited about anything ever, but remember when Dana said a fighter pulled out? I bet that's John Jones. It's very difficult to know what to believe in that situation, because if you believe John Jones, he was talking to the UFC, and Dana basically threw cold water over all of that and said that he personally wasn't talking to him. But he did say that some of the people are acting like Dana sat there in his office calling all these fighters and he's involved in everything. He's not. He's a very, very small part of it. He's just a spokesperson. And we've gone over that. Mate, when are you going to the ME? It's getting heated. ME, what's the ME? Let's see if Gilly pays up. We bet $200 on the Charles fight. He will try to do the best he can to weasel out of it. And I can see your comments. Yeah, I can see your comments. But unfortunately, I've said this before. Restream is permanently stuck in top chat, so sometimes I'm gonna miss them, and sometimes because I'm rambling the entire time, I move on. He bet against Charles Connor. You know Giuliano did. Of course, he bet for Max Holloway. He doesn't know. I love Asian women. Pib, please stay away from Asian women. Don't ruin it for the rest of us. We know you're not gonna handle the situation ethically and with class. So just keep your grubby little mitts to yourself, yeah. Keep your dick beaters to yourself. All right. Do you think Islam Hamzat and Yan are not on the card because they are Russian? No, I don't. I mean, by the looks of, I mean, you've got a French guy and a Brazilian guy in the co-main, and you've got an over the hill American fight and a Spaniard who's probably going to beat the tar out of him. But it's clear that they've set Americans up in the rest of the fights where they really should win. Like, Bo's obviously fighting another American, but they obviously want Bo to win. He's that, typical, I don't know, American kind of cunt. But there's going to be an American winner in that one either way. Sean O'Malley should very clearly win that fight. So yeah, Alex or Gane, who's going to win? I'm going to say Alex Pereira is going to fucking spark him out because I think he's just a way more accomplished striker, and I think the only chance that if Gane fought him a couple of years ago, I think he would have done all right. But now that Alex Pereira actually has good takedown defense, I don't think Gane's going to have enough to get it done. But the main problem is, imagine if he does it. Gane winning would be the worst thing on all counts, and the fact that they're willing to risk it is crazy for Cyril Gane as well, who doesn't deserve a title shot. Frankie, I have yellow fever. I slept with an Asian once. Once you go east, you never go west. Am I right? I mean, you saw what happened to me, bro. All it took for me was watching Big Trouble in Little China that one time as a 9-year-old, and I had the Asian plague from there on out. If you were Khamenei during the assassination, what would you do in the last hour? Smash. Of course, I'd smash. Yes, check his last stream. We locked in a bet. He took Max. Giuliano does this all the time. I'm going to tell you this now. Yeah, he will pay you, but you're going to have to fucking chase him down for it. You're going to have to. And the reason why he took that bet, by the way, is because Max was the favorite. He thought Max was going to win. So he thought to himself, if I put $200 on Max, I'm going to get back like 100. Whereas if he bets straight up with you, he's going to get even odds. And he thought he was playing you. Obviously, he didn't know what the fuck he was talking about, because it was very clear to everyone who had a brain in their nut that if Charles Oliveira treated this like an MMA fight, he was going to destroy him. And that's exactly what happened. Strickland Hamzat fight would have been perfect. They were never going to do that on the White House card. Strickland would have been going on about the Epstein files. He would have been sounding off. They can't have that. So it's bad for them, but wonderful for us, the spectators. And that's exactly what they should have done. The amount of fights we could have got, if they were going to make the card the biggest of all time or the most hyped, it was easy. There was no problem. They could have had Islam versus Ilya. They could have had Sean versus Hamzat. They could have had Alex Pereira versus either Jones or Tom Aspinall. Job done. But clearly Tom couldn't fight, and Jones, they were probably just fucking with him because they hate him, and rightfully so, because he is a massive bellend. Did you know YouTube is bringing back the messaging feature? I'm not sure I'm too keen on that. Strickland Hamzat fight would have been perfect. I've already answered that. I love how your wife is Asian. That's beautiful, mate. Well, yeah. Yeah, it is what it is. Hang on a second. Let me just deal with something real quick. Apologies, people. Okay. What do you think about the Celtic and Rangers fans at the end of the game coming onto the pitch, Muppets? I think it shows where Scottish football is coming. I think the fact that there's competition is phenomenal. I'm very, very happy about that. Like, genuinely. The fact that they're coming on the pitch and fighting and doing all that is terrible for the sport. But at least there's some excitement in Scottish football for a change. There's finally stakes involved. Every cup matters. I mean, it doesn't really matter because who cares? Winning that means basically nothing. But yeah, acting like that is obviously tragic, but at least for Scottish fans, it's something to get behind because it's been awful. PFL released Ngannou. Your opinions on this? Who saw this? Who didn't see this coming? Is my question. I think Ngannou is an asshole, quite frankly. PFL are already down in the dumps. We need competition from them. Or else, because this is why the UFC stinks, because they don't have Western competition. And we need the PFL to get their thumb out of their buttholes. So it's disappointing from that aspect. And obviously, if Ngannou had done what he was supposed to do, Maybe PFL could. Oh, no, they could have never stood a chance. Ngannou's going to have 1 or 2 more boxing matches, and then he's going to be out of there. I don't think he fights MMA again because he's going to deal with them. For the first time, I believe Dana that Ngannou was the problem. I mean, that was clear to see. The way he's treated PFL, but PFL kind of did it to themselves. They're dumb as fuck. In a few years, there will be a P word pass like the N word pass. P word equals slur for the Indian stereotype. Opinions on this. That door definitely doesn't swing both ways. I don't feel like the P word pass is ever going to be a thing because people use it flagrantly because they don't care about what that particular group of people think. That word is still in circular general use. Liverpool is in the semis. You will never walk alone. They're in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, aren't they? Are they still in? Yeah, they're still in the FA Cup. They're in the quarterfinals. I was very disappointed by the Newcastle result, but I saw it coming. But it made me a bit happier that Sunderland went and lost to a bottom of Division 2 team. So that made me feel a little bit better. But a generally disappointing day or weekend for sports for me in general. I'm glad that Charles Oliveira won, but I wish it could have been a little bit different. I'll say that much. Grow hairs, Frankie. You look good with long hair. I absolutely don't. I look like an absolute pedo. To be perfectly honest with you, I think I look much more clean with the short hair. India is so diverse. The P word people are just in one state. I mean, it doesn't even. Indians get very, very offended by it, but it's not even shorthand for. But I can understand why they get offended because it's like grouping them and Pakistanis together. Or are you talking about the other P word? Because there's 2 P words, isn't there? For some reason, I thought you were talking about the more traditional P word. Beyblazer, teach us some good Indian slurs. Beyblazer's been waiting for this. He's been ready with the list. He's been ready with the list. Pib, what are you up to these days, man? You've been relatively muted. How you doing, BBC Junior? What's good, man? Banshid. Is that a thing? Is that a thing? I'm gonna have to add that one to the list. I'm all joking though, yeah. I'm not a fan of anybody who uses racial slurs. I think it's low-hanging fruit. I think what you can do is like insult their country for like individual things and just speak home truths. But just calling someone a word, I think is a little bit low. Would you ever go bald? You're making it sound like I've got a choice, mate. I know I wouldn't go bald because as you can see from my baby type face, I cannot grow a beard. Or it takes me about 9 months to grow an acceptable beard, and I'm not willing to do it. So the answer is no. As soon as the old hair goes, and to be fair, I'm 41 years old, still got hair on my head. Off to Turkey for me, mate, to get the old surgery done. Take it easy, Ash. Have a good one. Congratulations to India again, man. I hope you enjoy celebrate. I hope the high from this carries you into the next few weeks. The White House card is actually really good, just doesn't live up to the hype it had. I kind of agree with Connor to some extent. I don't think it's a terrible card. I think it's the same thing the same problem we had with every card they've hyped. The hype didn't match the reality of what the card was, and that's the problem. And I think having like Bo Nickel on there, having Bo Nickel and Kyle Dorcas on there is an absolute abomination. To think that slot could have been filled with so many different fights, I think is why so many people are angry. Bo Nickel sucks. He sucks. He got absolutely destroyed by RDR, who's looked not very good in his last few. Why are we still promoting this guy? He's terrible. I think Banshid means stupid in Hindi. Oh, I didn't know that. I'll put that in the old back pocket for when I need it. I'm from the South. I can teach you a lot. Nobody knows how to insult Indians better than Indians themselves. So we get no Armin Tapuria, no McGregor, no John Jones, not even Chimaev or Makachev. Dana has to go. Nav, I don't think Dana's responsible for all this. I'm going to be honest with you. I think there's a committee involved. Dana's obviously the face. What's up, John Dong? Dana's obviously the face of the promotion. But if you think he sat there in his office making all the decisions himself, that's not what's going down. They have decided this together and they have fumbled this together. And it's like I said at the beginning of the card. At the beginning of the live stream. I think the card itself is fine. The fights itself are fine. But if they were choosing to do 6 fights, they could have had so much more. We could have got Sean O'Malley versus Corey Sandhagen if they wanted Sean O'Malley on there. They could have just stripped Tom and said, fuck it, and just made Alex Pereira and gone for the actual heavyweight title. Because now it basically amounts to nothing. If Alex Pereira wins, he's not the full-time champion, so you can't say he's freeweight world champion. And if Gane wins, you've ruined his legacy. So what's the point? I get that Gaethje has to fight Ilya because he's the interim, but you should have never put yourself in that position in the first place. Gaethje should have not been given this opportunity to even get there. And now looking at what Ilya's done to everyone else, it's going to be light work. I don't know if I've asked this here, but and by the way, I do really like the Steve Garcia and Diego Lopez fight, but again, is it white card worthy? But I understand your anger, Navs. But if you're gonna be throwing out, I don't think just Dana White has to go. I think they all have to go. I don't know if I asked this here, but over the past few weeks, I was asking people how Bo Nickel versus Kyle Dorcas would go, and now it's on the White House card, so it's your fault. Thanks a lot, John. Dana isn't the matchmaker. I'm pretty sure he has a say in things. It's a committee thing. It definitely is. Beyblazer, are people from the north racist against the south? Of course they are. Any excuse to have an enemy. Where the fuck did you get that watch? How do you have a Ulysses Nardin? It's not a Ulysses Nardin. This is a Gucci watch. It's a piece of shit, really. I just like the color. Frankie is a rich little leprechaun. I know Armin is an arsehole, but can the man get a title shot already or even a good fight? I've got to be honest here. I don't really like Armin Sarukian as a personality, but he deserves a title shot. It shouldn't be Justin Gaethje. But I'm kind of on the fence of this one, as I often am in these kind of discussions. He fumbled it himself by messing around with a whore. And yes, I'm talking about Nina Drama. Wasn't even tapping that as well. So you're basically flexing for a whore that you're not even tapping. You lose the opportunity of a lifetime for that. And then he goes on a 17-month campaign of turning down fights. So long story short, fuck him. And beating Dan Hooker, he was getting piped out on the weekend and sucking dick and then going home. Not even getting asked, by the way. He's turning up to dude's house, blowing them off, if the reports are to be believed, and then going home. He beat a gay guy who's not even a good gay guy. Anyway, so that's my thoughts on it. It's kind of 6 of one and half a dozen of the other for me. I think Armin's a fucking tard for everything he's done. But also the UFC haven't really covered themselves in glory as well. Colby, McGregor, Paddy, Sarukian, Gene Silver, Mac. That's another thing, man. I don't even understand why they put... And I didn't even talk about Hoofy and Michael Chandler. I mean, I kind of did at the start. Michael Chandler is 2-5 in the UFC. I get that he puts on entertaining fights, but it's usually entertaining because he's getting his fucking ass beat. I don't understand it. And I get he's an American, you know, like he's a, you know, very similar to Justin Gaethje, stars and stripes and all that stuff. But the fact that he is headlining what is seen as the biggest, or was supposed to be billed as the biggest card in UFC history in 2026 is mental. Beyblazer, do you think people think about Goa today? Is it still a cool place? Goa is still kind of what a lot of foreigners, for foreigners, it's the go-to place to do. Because it's somewhat, not wealthy there, but it's a tourist spot. You know, you can go there, get some nice beach in, get yourself some Indian poon if that's what you're inclined to. Mostly the old gen people are obsessed with that, and the new gen people are relatively chill and don't care about the caste. I think the caste thing definitely has been diluted over the years, but amongst Indian households, I can tell you it's definitely still a thing. Goa is the Vegas of India. If you want to get drunk and get laid, go to Goa. That's pretty much what I said. Beyblazer, they love gay rights, etc. I'm a big respecter of the Vedic civilization. Gaethje is going to get graped by Tapuria. If he doesn't, then, like I said, I'm questioning all of existence, mate, because there's no way. That's the only thing that I took out of yesterday. When I was watching what Charles Oliveira was doing to Max Holloway, and I know Max Holloway hasn't really fought any elite grapplers in his career. But I was sat there watching what Charles was doing to him, and I was like, "Oh my God, Ilya is amazing." We know that Islam's amazing already, but he does have the weight and size to compete with somebody like Charles. You know, they got weird genetics, those people from that particular part of the world. But Ilya being as small as he is and dominating Charles in the grappling and then absolutely fucking chinning his ass out, it just shows how elite the guy is. And I think pound for pound, he is the best all-round fighter in the UFC right now. And we haven't even seen what he's capable of. Or mainstream fans haven't, because if you watched him in the regionals and you've seen him doing training, I'm subscribed to his YouTube channel. His grappling and jiu-jitsu game is elite, and we haven't even seen it. He came into the UFC as a grappler, and now he's just absolutely just sending people to hell. And it's beautiful to watch. If I ever say beef, I'm the filet mignon. uh, that is a nice cut, to be fair. That is a nice cut. I'm still not in a place where I can talk about eating, because I'm now, I think, 60 something hours into my water fast. I was supposed to break it tonight, but I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to get through one more day. Yeah, Vedic culture was warrior culture, then becoming more corrupted. Buddha was rebelling against this corruption. Oh, Gaethje is CTE'd, man. Yeah, Gaethje is going to be. I mean, Gaethje is kind of retarded already, but this certainly isn't going to help him. He's going to be in a nursing home at 45. Frankie, I missed most of the fights last night. What happened? The only thing you really need to go back and watch Gregory Rodriguez knocking Bruno Ferreira out, because that was nasty. And watch the third round of the Cody Garbrandt and Zhao fight, because that was some of the funniest shit that I've ever seen. Is it true that Buddha said some wild things about women? I didn't know they had him on record. Ilya 50-38 the divorce system. I mean, that's probably his biggest victory, because his ex-wife had gold digging whore all over her. Never mess with them Miami women. And he got out of that probably 7 figures and a holiday home. I think he did very well for himself, because she could have taken him to the cleaners. They clearly went to court. Ilya had the receipts, and she was like, "Do you know what? I think I'll take that settlement." Absolutely smashed it. A victory for men, finally. Now it's like, it's like 24.7 billion. That's the scorecard at the moment. Ilya Islam is never happening, because Islam is not going to go down and Ilya is too small for 170. But that's what I'm saying. Yeah, the White House card could have been a perfect opportunity to do a 165 division. And then not only do you have champion versus champion, but you've got someone is ending the night as a free weight world champion. How they fumbled that, I don't understand. It's crazy to me. We may still get it at the end of the year, but I'm telling you what's inevitably going to happen. One of them is going to lose, and we're going to lose that fight. I agree on Ilya, and I love Arman. I just think Ilya is the worst fight for him. Ilya is that good. Him versus Emmett was just next level greatness. Nas, I completely agree with you, man. A lot of people shit on him for not finishing Emmett, but that was one of the most prolonged beatings. I think it was like that fight and the Holloway and what's his name? That idiot. The gay one, the one who was smashing Tracy Cortez. I always forget his name because he's so irrelevant to me. Brian Ortega. The Emmett versus Tapuria fight and the Brian Ortega and Max Holloway fight were two of the most sustained beatings I've ever seen. And I would argue that Ilya did even more damage than Max Holloway did. Wake up and smell the coffee. The UFC is over. Yeah, I'm kind of all right with it, though. I'm kind of all right with it. I've got other things going on in my life. I've got money, I've got bitches, I've got family. I'm all good. Did Poatan give up the light heavyweight belt? Yeah, it's officially Yuri versus Carlos Ulberg at UFC Miami in a couple of months, which is a banger of a fight, by the way. Frankie versus Prates for the cigar versus vape championship. Prates would definitely outdo me on that one. I touch up the vape every now and then, but like I'm not really like I don't believe in doing any of those things. You know, it was more of a I used to be a smoker when I was younger, and it was very hard to fully break out of that. But I haven't smoked a cigarette in like 10 years, and vaping is obviously very bad and you shouldn't do it because we don't know what the dangers of it is. In fairness, I told you all the White House card would be the latest letdown. Yeah, fair enough. I do need to narrow it down. Yeah, I was talking about Brian Ortega. But we do know that Tracy Cortez likes it in the back door, as I've said. So that's a new piece of information for everyone to digest. Because if she's messing with Alex Pereira, you know he likes it. Does vape give you the high? I mean, I don't really mess with them too much. I would say it's more of a habit thing. I think everyone needs somewhat of a vice. For me, I've got a somewhat stressful job. Um, obviously I'm married, so we all know what that's like. So you need something. And drinking doesn't suit me because I either get very, very happy or I get very argumentative. Do you think Big Ank might get the title shot now that Poatan is gone? I think they'll inevitably have to give it to him. I think he'll take a fight against somebody else, and he's the best in the division without Poatan there. So I think he'll take a fight. He'll eventually stop throwing his toys out the pram. He'll take a fight, and then they'll have to give him the title shot, probably against Yuri, because I think Yuri's going to beat Carlos Ulberg. But I'm not. It's more because I just love Yuri. It could be a fairly that could be a devastating one for me because I don't like Carlos Ulberg. I think deep down we all know that Islam didn't want that fight with Ilya. It's too much of a risk at 155 pounds, especially that Ilya can study Islam versus Poirier. Poirier was hurting Islam in the body. You're 100% right. I think Islam was struggling to make 155. He's always going by the narrative that, oh, people are always saying I'm beating up featherweights, and I don't think it was that at all. I think those Dagestanis are opportunists, and he saw it as Ilya's going to be dangerous at 155. I find it difficult to make 155. If I go up to 170, now that JDM's got the belt, I can clearly see holes in his game. It was worth it for legacy wise. And then he's saying to himself, if Ilya comes up to 170, I can just wet blanket him. And that's probably what would happen. I still think we get it. I think both of them will make it undeniable. Because I think Islam will beat Gary when they fight, although I think it will be close. And I think Ilya will absolutely flatline Justin Gaethje. And they clearly don't want Arman to get the title, and Ilya doesn't want to fight him either because he hates him. So Brian Ortega climb into heavyweight to fight Pereira for the interim. Yeah, Brian Ortega is a jiggly cunt, isn't he? Where did you get the Tracy backdoor info? So, Mr. Freaky, the reason why I'm just putting two and two together. Do you remember when Poatan got caught up with that thought, who claimed that he R-worded her, and then she shamelessly said that he didn't understand English and then stuck it in the back door against her will, and that's why she was calling it grape. So we know that Alex loves a good backdoor entry, and we know that he had a good, a nice 7-day session with Tracy Cortez. That's all it was ever going to be. So there was definitely some backdoor violations going on. If you know the game, you know the game. If Poatan loses against Garno Aspinall, he will retire. I reckon he does as well. And it would be the perfect way to retire. No, I think what you might do, he beats Poatan, fights Tom Aspinall. I think in Alex Pereira's mind, he's thinking the next 3 fights on his docket, if in an ideal world for him, would be Gone, Tom, Jones. Not necessarily in that order. It might be Gone, Jones, Aspinall. Ilya is the same height as Marab. Crazy. Most skilled guy in the UFC by a country mile. Wasn't Alex married? Yeah, he was married. She wasn't all that as well. He escaped from that situation real quick. She apparently was terrible. Petrosky versus Nickel at the White House should be interesting because Petrosky has a commie tattoo. He's not fighting Petrosky. He's fighting Kyle Dorcas. How's my favorite femboy? I'm good, bro. I mean, I'm not a femboy. Stop saying that. Trump is getting impeached after the midterms. Forget about the White House card. I don't think that's going to affect it. If you don't give Tracy some bum fun, she'll call you a fruit. I reckon I'm with you on this one, Stevie, as well, yeah. I reckon she incites it. I don't reckon Powhatan was like, can I put it in the back? I reckon she was like slapping him and telling him to stick it in, or she was gonna out him. It's being a pussy. That's what I think. Marab is not beating Piotr Yan. The Piotr Yan that fought Marab in December, nobody's beating him at bantamweight. That was the best title performance of the year by a country mile. Got to stop using that expression. And yeah, I don't think anyone's beating him. Lane, Trump is getting impeached. Are you ready? I don't think Lane cares. In fact, I'm sure Lane is campaigning for that. Frankie is 5'2" in real life. I'm 5'7". But you can think what you like. It hasn't affected my life in any way. I don't think I really qualify as a short king because I'm not like, well, I'm not a king in any aspect of the word, but I'm not tiny. I'm not like midget sized. You know, I'm very clearly an averaged heighted male or just below. I don't think anyone's looked at me and gone, wow, that guy's tiny, or certainly not said it to my face. Probably just snickered it behind my back. I know, but Dorcas is gonna sub him. You reckon? Carl Dorcas might beat him, which, by the way, would make it. I would be happy that that card got booked if Bo Nickel gets ironed out hard. He forgot on a good day. Fair enough. I don't have any insecurities about my height. I don't really have insecurities about anything. It's happening. Lane is Trump's top guy. If Trump gets impeached, the brain dead MAGA people will cause a civil war. Nah, they won't. Trump fans ain't about it like that. Smash the like button, y'all. Thank you very much, Lane. I'd appreciate that. The likes on the channel have actually been doing really well. And we went through like a couple of months period where we weren't picking up any subscribers, which, to be honest, doesn't really matter that much to me anymore. When I see certain people turn up in my chat, I know I say this all the time. When I see certain people turn up, I get very jolly. Do you know what I mean? So it's good. Come on, bro. No way you're 5'7". Just tell the truth. No, it's the truth, man. If I was gonna lie, I would say I was 6'7". And people from the YouTube community have met me in person. So Bodak's met me, Brutali's met me, and they can both confirm that I'm gorgeous as I am on camera, solid 5, and I am in fact 5'7". Can't believe who lies about being 5'7". Fucking hell! If you're 5'3", you might as well just embrace it. They say that everyone lies about their height. I do not, because I don't see the point. What are a couple of inches going to do? Do you know what I'm saying? That's what she said. Can't believe how unbelievably mid this White House card is. Yeah, AK, I kind of went into this at the beginning. It is shocking, mate. We have 3 fights that are good. They're going to be good for what they are, but none of them matter at all. And then we've got 3 fights that are like, what the fuck are they doing on here? So yeah, I would say it's very, very disappointing. But at the end of the day, if we get good fights, who cares? I'll tell you something right now, though. I know that TNT are going to try and charge £30 for it. I'm not paying it. So I will be bootlegging that shit. What about White House cards still alive? That's what should happen, yeah. Whoever wins, yeah, should get like an Epstein exempt. Should be exempt from the Epstein prosecution. Bobby, legend in the building, you best believe. Jolly Jumper. Which university do you work for, broski? I might come to the UK for a visit. So I can't reveal that information. I can't reveal who I work for obvious doxing reasons. I'm really insecure about my weight because I'm 6 foot tall, but I only weigh 65 kilos. Sounds like a certain meth addict MMA streamer that we know. Bobby was looking at 25 years behind the wall and never said a word. Stayed solid, street legend. What's good, Frankie? How you doing, Ricky LaFleur? How's the game treating you? Hope you enjoyed the card last night, and hope you're well in life, bro. It's always good to have you pull up. Ricky is one of the old school OGs in here. Much love to you, Ricky. Hope you're having a good one, bro. Lee Priest had the same measurements as the 6-foot guys. Bernie Eccleston is small too. He was always true to his height. Bernie Eccleston was slamming dick though. The thing is, this is what I'm saying. I am when you are out there slinging dick, and the ladies love you, you tend not to lie about anything because you're like, yeah, I'm 5'7" and I'm still doing a job out here. Do you know what I'm saying? Aspinall versus Pereira would be incredible though down the line. That might be the best thing that we get out of this because we're not going to get Gon versus Tom now unless Gon wins, of course. And then in that case, what was the point in doing Aspinall versus Poatan at all? But hopefully the silver lining in all of this is that in Madison Square Garden at the end of the year, we get Tom Aspinall versus one of those two, and hopefully it's Poatan. Because that would be blockbuster shit. I'm hoping this is what the UFC is thinking, that they're trying to set things up. But that's the whole issue that I've got with this White House card, because it sets up almost nothing. I need storylines, not just good fights. I'm a bit greedy. I mean, even if you're 4'11", my respect doesn't wane. I appreciate that, Taylor. No, I mean, like, I've never had any insecurities about my height. I don't really care. But I'm not a midget, so am I a giant? No. Would I get mogged by most men? Most definitely. But at least I'm not short and ugly. I'm short, I'm average in every category, and I'm absolutely fine with that. Steven, you're not going to get me with that one. Tracy Cortez definitely has one of those, though. I would like to get 300 pounds like an average sumo wrestler. My problem is I can hardly add weight. How old are you, Taylor? I'm assuming you're somewhat on the young side. Once you get past being 30 years old, that won't be a problem anymore. You will get fat in no time. Maybe Cheddarhead can give you some tips. Completely okay, man. Even if I would reveal if I had the emo pro plus hairstyle, I wouldn't. You should consider getting a mid-taper fade. I don't really like fades, man. They kind of mess up your hairline, which I know sounds ironic coming from me, but I've had this hairline since the beginning of my existence, and I don't want to mess with it. You're 21. You still got good metabolism. Once you hit that 26 to 27 range, it all goes downhill, mate. I mean, the thing is, men age better in terms of how they look in the face, but your body absolutely waves the white flag, and suddenly you wake up and you're a fat cunt. The hardest one I found to get rid of is the love handles. Because I used to do a hell of a lot of cardio, and I can't do them anymore because I'm an old man and I've got old man joints. But Beyblazer, I appreciate the... And also, I don't know if you know this, because I have mentioned it on here before. I have a Chinese barber, and I ain't trusting him with no fade, mate. But in my defense, he's 10 quid. So, Beyblazer, what line can Frank use on Q Indian girls? I think just saying that I have an operational toilet would be... I'm in. Getting fat completed it, mate. I love that expression. Shout out to the in-betweeners for making that a thing. Completed it, mate. I completed it, mate. I thought every Irish guy would get the blonde beard and 18 starter pack. Yeah, man, I'm not a typical Irishman in that way. How you doing, Kloss? What's good, man? What you doing, How you doing, Tinos? Is it a psyop to ruin my favorite sport? No. We've been dying a slow death. I still feel like I am in my prime. Not only do I have a Chinese barber, Caravaggio, I used to go to a really expensive barber that cost me like £70 a pop. And then this Chinese guy who lives in my neighborhood, he works for a stylist here, but he has set up his own private shop that he does obviously after work in his shed. I know it sounds fucked up. He's got all the equipment and stuff. And I went to him once, thought, why not? Slapped a tenner over there, couldn't tell the difference. And by the way, he's a gay Chinese dude, just to clarify. You don't want gay dudes doing a lot of stuff to you if you're straight, obviously. But cutting hair is one thing those motherfuckers do better than anybody else. Look at those 260-pound sumo wrestlers. They don't even look like real mean. 300 pounds would be minimum. A lot of them die in their 20s, though. Fat cunts. If he approaches a girl in India, he's getting in jail for sexual assault. No, I'm not. They get away with it. Why can't I? Bro, what did you think about the Charles Max fight? I was disappointed in it, in the fact that I was expecting a war, but I thought it was a phenomenal performance by Charles Oliveira. And I said, if he went there, if he went into that cage and said, fuck the BMF stuff, I'm just going to do what I do. I'm going to make this an MMA fight. He's going to win hands down. And my only concern was that he wouldn't do that. But he did it. It was a wonderful performance. And Charles the Bronx is he's not just one of the nicest guys in the sport, because he is. He's got all the criteria for what makes him a UFC great. He had a terrible opening to his career where he was seen as a quitter. He then goes on to not just become a champion, but become one of the most exciting champions in UFC history. He might not have had the best run, but the way that he destroyed people in that very short window was legendary. He's respectful to other people in the game. Good family man. What more can you say? I'm happy for him. Max Holloway kind of pisses me off as well. There are certain things he says outside the cage that just baffle me. I think the guy's kind of a retard. But out of the two of them, personality-wise, I've always preferred Charles. And now we get to see Max Holloway's legacy completely unravel. Because if they put him in there with another grappler, which I think he's going to be tempted to take, the same thing's going to happen again. If he stays at 155 and fights good grapplers, he's going to get smushed. I reckon they might do him and Arman. Arman might look at that and go, do you know what? I can do that to him. Gay Chinese barber. I have a Down syndrome Chinese barber. Something Wong. I can't believe I walked into that one. I told y'all Charles' grappling advantage was much greater than Max's striking advantage. In my defense, I also said that Charles Oliveira was going to win. And I think a lot of people in this community said the same thing. I think we were all on the Charles bandwagon. Like the majority of YouTube MMA people were saying that Max Holloway was going to win. But anyone with common sense, like I said, the only thing that was hanging over that fight was Charles Oliveira going to go in there and treat it like a mixed martial arts fight? Or was he going to stand and bang? And I said this earlier on in the stream. For those people who were going, yeah, well, he was winning the stand-up. He was winning the stand-up because he was putting the grappling in there as well. In those brief moments when Max Holloway was allowed to throw hands, he was piecing his ass up. It was very, very brief. But Max clearly had the better hands. But it was the fear of the grappling and it was the way that Charles was mixing it up that led to the other openings. Charles ended up landing better. He obviously completely destroyed him with the grappling. As a mixed martial arts fighter, Charles Oliveira proved he's on another stratosphere to Max Holloway. And I honestly think that Max Holloway went into that fight thinking, he's not going to grapple me. He's going to stand and fight with me because he wasn't ready for it. But I will echo what somebody else said earlier on in the stream. The fact that Max Holloway managed to get through all of that and not get submitted, he spent 20 minutes on the ground with him and didn't get submitted. He deserves some credit for that. But it has killed the BMF title, which, let's be face it, was dumb as fuck to begin with. Because if they're going to do that, what they've basically done with the BMF title is gone, here's the BMF title. It's basically reserved for the 155-pound division. Because the 155 title was held hostage for so long. No, I had Charles all day and all night. I mean, you were one of the ones who agreed with me. I didn't outright say Charles Oliveira is definitely going to win. But I said if it's a pure MMA fight and not this BMF nonsense, he's going to win. And I was proven correct. And I think it's better overall because Charles is just a better all-round. Surviving is gay. Max gets no credit. Max didn't even try to escape. Charles Oliveira was huge compared to Max Holloway. Max Holloway he looked like a skinny 155er. He doesn't have a muscular frame. I'm amazed more people haven't gone in there and done that to Max Holloway. But it shows how fucking good he is, how good Charles is. And off the top of that, how fucking good Ilya is. That's what I was sat there thinking the entire night. How you doing, Autist? It was good, man. Charles killed the BMF title. He did the right thing. Yeah, I don't think it's going to get defended again. And if it does get defended again, who do you think they should do? Charles Oliveira, if he defends the BMF, who should it be against? Because I'll tell you what they're probably going to do. Charles is going to probably end up getting a title shot when Ilya vacates it. I'm predicting this year, end of the year, we get Charles Oliveira versus Arman Sarukian for the belt after Ilya vacates it. That's what I'm going for. Depending on the way they get deported, if y'all kick him out, then yeah, kind of. But people have inferior complexes with these people. The ring card girls did better at their job than Max. No, I think Max went in there thinking, this is a BMF fight. Charles is going to sling with me and I'm just going to piece him up. And Charles was like, nah, fuck that. Kicked him in the leg, grabbed him and just dunked him. Charles is a quitter. Not anymore. How you doing, Adolf, by the way? Holloway looked like a kindergartner and Oliveira looked like his teacher. I don't know what schools you've been going to, but Arman versus Charles rematch. That's what I'm about. That's what I think is going to happen. Speech impediment McGregor versus Oliveira at 170. Imagine the things that Charles Oliveira would do to Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor would not get out of round one with Charles Oliveira. I genuinely believe that, especially this version of Conor. Destruction. Babe, I believe the only illegals and uncivilized ones should be deported to North Korea. Serious Indian talents are ridiculed by the government here. That's why people leave. Interesting. So, Beyblazer, are you suggesting that I know you're suggesting that I should come to India at some point, and I think you're suggesting that I should go to South India, yeah? So, if we are too nice about it, then they might be hated a little. It's an interesting dichotomy. Francis did the hair full stop. Yes. I don't know exactly what you're asking, but I'm going to answer it how I think you're you're asking me. My hair game is back on point. My students are making less fun about me losing my hair now. They don't call me balding anymore. I just think I was using too much product. I think that's where your boy messed up, personally. But yeah. All right, boys, we've got about 15 minutes left because I can't really do much longer than that. So if you've got any more outrageous things you want to say or anything you want to talk about, please let me know. There aren't really any down-ass mofos in 155 at the moment that have the resume for the BMF. The BMF title died last night, where it should be. It was a stupid, gimmicky piece of shit to begin with. And they only had it because they had nothing else to do on that original card that they brought it up on. And they knew they couldn't make Masvidal champion, and he was hot at the time. So I don't even think he was the first BMF fight, was he? Olives would kill him. Terrible matchup, but he's calling for it. McGregor definitely doesn't want that fight. McGregor's not retarded. Visit India and you will love the gory Haba festivities. Charles fought like a legit bitch. He ain't no BMF. Nah, man, I don't think he did. I don't think he did. The thing is of that performance, yeah. Yes, he grappled him, but he didn't lay and prey on him. He went for submissions. He was applying ground and pound. He was engaging in the striking. The simple fact is that Max had nothing for him. So it was a disappointing fight. I'm with all the people that said they watched that and they were genuinely disappointed. But saying that Charles Oliveira's performance was shit or that he's a pussy, I can't get with that, to be perfectly honest. I'm not making fun. Just wait a few more days. There is a new drug coming soon to the market. Really? Keep your boy posted. I'm down for that. The White House card seems a bit random to me. Some fun fights nonetheless. I summarized it earlier on, and I think I summarized it quite well. The card is an abomination for every reason. People still believe that going abroad is the best decision. I have a real example that I can share. Want to hear? Beyblazer, absolutely. You are definitely in the right channel for that. McGregor likes Chinese women. Star Smoth, how you doing, man? It's been a couple of weeks since I've seen you in here. Shout out to you, bro. Not everyone has the great hair genetics as the Italian bad boy Giuliano Argenti. He definitely has good hair, but the rest of him is less appealing. I don't know why I put it like that. I do love Giuliano. I haven't spoken to him in a little while. He is a bad motherfucker, but instead of bad, it's bad. He got that junk in the trunk. Outrageous take. If you grapple at all, you're a scared bitch. Exactly. I think people are getting the whole like, I'm surprised you're getting the whole like grappling is for bitches and laying praying is for bitches argument confused. I've said this on the channel before. I'm going to say it again. The fighters we need to get rid of are the ones that take. I'll give you an example from last night. Raul Rosas Jr. Let's take the fact that he looks like a gargoyle out of the equation, yeah. The fact that looking at his face offends me, yeah. And I don't even mean to be that kind of cunt, yeah, but it's because of his personality as well. The way he fought, yeah, was legit bitch worthy. He took him down and did absolutely fuck all. Didn't try to strike, didn't try to submit, and this guy's getting shot to the fucking moon. Just because he's a mongoloid. And he's from Mexico or wherever, even though he says he's American. Raul Rosas Jr. is the exact example of what we need to be getting rid of in the sport. Of course, I remember you, bro. You were here for a minute, and you're a very good contributor to the chat. So shout out to you, man. How you doing, Ijo? What's good, man? Attempting to submit a striker for 25 minutes and failing is not what the baddest motherfucker would do. But he did great in the striking as well. He out MMA'd him, and that's what the game is all about. He dominated him in MMA. This BMF fight was fucking retarded from the beginning. And if they want to have those kind of fights, they should have said, fuck it. We're going to do striking only matches now, where if you grapple, it gets broken up. You agree to it beforehand. You say, let's get in there, striking match only. And as soon as somebody tries to grapple, they lose a point or they break it up. But UFC is never going to be that, and it shouldn't. It is a MMA organization. BJJ does not make you a bad motherfucker in any possible situations. A relative of mine works with the government. Let's say that $1 million is allocated for a bridge or a public facility. The big sharks, the engineers and superintendents take 500k USD. And the other 100k are the breadcrumbs and taken by lower officials and politicians. You can obviously say that about India, but every country in the world is fucking corrupt. Tracy Cortez went to the gynecologist. He looked down there and shouted, wow, that is one massive hole. That is one massive hole. And Tracy said, okay, you don't need to say it twice. I didn't, said he. I do love a good echo joke. Shout out to you, Stevie, man. And this is why you're one of my goats in here. Raul took a page from Islam and Chimaev's book. It was Chimaev-esque. I don't agree with the Islam take because Islam does actually try to ground and pound. Whereas Chimaev and Rosas Jr. do absolutely nothing. How have you been? I haven't seen you in a while. How you doing, Carver? What's good, man? Good to have you back here. I don't think grappling is for scared fighters, but comparing the way that Dagestanis wrestle to how GSP wrestles and mixes it up, the Dagestanis are just boring to watch. Exactly. There is a difference between a grappler. Grappling can be very entertaining. We saw it with Evloev and Aljamain Sterling, which I thought was a great fight. Grappling can be brilliant. When you're trying to take, advantage and you're transitioning between positions, it can be fantastic. When you get people down and you just fucking date them on the ground, it's a problem. And especially when the ref isn't doing anything to stop it. After Raul Rosas Jr. was on him for 60 seconds doing nothing, it should have been picked up. Do it again then. And if he does it again, fair enough. But make him do it 5 times. Because it's just horrible. And obviously it's on Rob Font as well for not being able to get up. But Raul Rosas Jr. does have that mongoloid strength. Let's keep it honest. The only mafia, that's the only true mafia. Why isn't Chimaev scheduled to fight? He said himself that he's not injured and is healthy. He said he's getting some kind of foot surgery or something. Hamzat Chimaev is that person. He is a bitch. And I said it from the beginning. The reason why I didn't want him to be DDP is not because I'm a racist against Muslims or people from that region. That's a separate issue. That's a separate issue. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want him to be champion because I knew he was going to do this. I knew it. He is a bullshitter. He is a liar. And anytime he's entertaining, he ends up almost losing the fight. Hamzat Chimaev is going to get slept. It's inevitable. Hamzat Chimaev is either going to fight very few times. He maybe have 2 more fights left in his career, and they're going to be arse, or he's going to get fucking fraud checked in the worst possible way. And I cannot wait for it. Two kind of fighters. There are real fighters, and there are those who intend to see the scorecards. I think unless you've been in there though, you can't really. It's hard to criticize, and I do it because I want to be entertained. But the simple fact is yeah, people are going in there and putting their health and their lives on the line, and they're getting paid pennies over the dollar for doing it. And it's a tough situation to be in. They should have the Special Olympics version of the UFC. I want a Down syndrome champ. I just know in my heart they have that hidden Tard strength. Starsmoff, this is out there. This is known. Do not fucking scrap with a mentally retarded person or a physically retarded person. You will get fucking ironed out. End of story. My dream is to go pro in MMA, and I don't want to get my parents into debt, and I don't have access to proper training and proper competition. I'll be real with you, yeah. I always wanted to be I had it partially as a dream of mine to be a fighter. And I thought to myself, when I have a son, I'm going to get him on it. And after he was born, I was like, nope, I'm not letting my son get into a cage with animals. So the lifestyle isn't all it's cracked up to be. This is why Arman Sarukian intrigues me the most. And that's why I've kind of got a little love in my heart for him. Because he's probably the only guy in the game that I can think of where it's like, you don't need to do this. Like, what are you doing? Because most people fight to get out of poverty, or they've come from domestic violence, or they've come from, that kind of situation. And they fight because it's all they know, or they've grown up in a fucked up neighborhood or whatever. Arman Sarukian has grown up with a silver spoon up his ass, and he's still choosing to do this, and he's a savage at it. And that kind of intrigues me. It kind of makes him a little bit special in that regard. Because pretty much every story you hear about fighters is they come from, I'm not saying he's the only one, but he's the only one at the top level who I feel is a bit different in that way. There is so much high-level coaching online. You only need one friend and some mats to get started. It's all about the will, mate. If you want to do something and you have the will to do it, you can get it done. The thing is you've got YouTube. YouTube is free, relatively. You can jump on there and learn basic stuff at the very least, because there are people out there who are willing to show you. Cody Garbrandt ran from his opponent once he was up on the cards after a point deduction. He didn't put his health and life at risk after hulking up like an oiled-up steroid abuser from the AED. I will always have love in my heart for Cody Garbrandt for the Dominic Cruz fight, because that fight was, I watched it live, as most of us did, and holy shit, it was entertaining as hell. One of the best title performances I've ever seen. However, the guy is an idiot, plain and simple. I mean, that tattoo pretty much sums him up. And his career since then has pretty much been an embarrassment. On the subject of that fight, by the way, if you haven't seen the Cody Garbrandt versus Zhao fight, I think his name is Zhao Long or whatever his name is. What a funny fight that was. It was terrible, but it was so hilarious. The third round for itself, on its own, is worth going back and watching. But I think Cody Garbrandt, at the very best scenario, he should have got a draw out of that. And the fact that you got unanimous decision on the scorecards is a problem. I think Guru said it on his video, breaking the fights down or reacting to the fight card. How you score that a win for Cody Garbrandt is mind-boggling. It should have been a win for the Chinese cunt. It was kicking people in the balls. Or at the very worst for him, it should have been a draw. He won the first 2 rounds, and he won the third because Cody was running away. 2-point docs, 1-point win. Or at the very least, a draw. I think if I had a kid, I would try and encourage him to get into fencing. No brain damage. It's an Olympic sport and highly aerobic. I've got my son doing all kinds of shit. He does ice skating. He plays football. He does little bits of MMA, but we're finding it hard to get him into a gym because he's still too young, and he thinks it's okay to run around kicking people. How you doing, Alberto Baranano? Great name, mate. I hope you're well. Welcome to the channel. I am not dumb enough to get into pro MMA right now. I need another income. That's why I'm learning Python and coding languages so I can work as a freelancer. Beyblader, you will make a lot of money doing that. Well, I know there's a lot of talk about it being like an AI taking over the industry and all that crap, but there's always going to be room, certainly in the next couple of decades, for coders to still thrive. So I think you're making the right decision. Frankie, would you let your son fight in MMA if that's what he wants to do? I would let him. I would let him. The thing is, it's weird for me now because obviously he's 5 years old and he's little and cute, and I just look at him and I think if he gets into a fight and I forgot to mention when he was at that birthday party earlier, I nearly fucking chinned another kid's dad because this little kid came up behind my son, tried to take his blocks off him. My son was like, nah. And then he went behind my son and tried to choke him from behind, like face crank him. And I fucking yelled at this kid. And I'm not usually the kind of person to shout out other people's kids. And I never thought I would be that person. But it's the first time I've seen somebody do something to my son and I lost it like immediately. Yeah, sorry lads. Hopefully we're back. I already have a heavy bag and I'm training the karate moves and that my karate coach teaches me, like the hook kick, 180 back kick, and Mawasashi Geri. My daughter's like a blue belt in karate and she's really good. Hopefully we're back. Sorry about that, guys. The Dagestanis heard him talking crap and they're looking for his location now. I'm getting hacked right as we speak. Something's going on because that was dodgy. Do you think Rose Namajunas might make some progress now she is under the Muay Thai tutelage of Coach Gabe Ping Bung Ho? Oh, I've pronounced that in a Chinese accent because it would have sounded very, very wrong. I have an opportunity to study at a good Swedish university. You should definitely take that. Sweden is apparently amazing and it's full of like very, very nicely polished white apples, if you know what I'm saying. You're back. I am back. And I have to say, yeah, I'm doing quite well on the energy front because I'm now 67 hours into my water fast and I'm still awake and I'm not feeling that hungry, to be honest. So I'm pretty pleased. What is your ideal White House card? So my ideal White House card would have been Ilya versus Islam, Alex versus Tom, probably. I would have had maybe Sean O'Malley versus Corey Sandhagen. It's a fight that I've wanted to see for a while. Fucking Diego Lopez versus Yair Rodriguez, even though Yair Rodriguez doesn't deserve it, just to see the hatred that those two have for each other. That's another thing that pisses me off. Steve Garcia is amazing. Why they didn't do Diego Lopez versus Yair Rodriguez is just a crime. It's a crime. How you doing, Jamal Pistoni? What's good, man? Welcome back. When will Jonathan Jones fight again? Never. It's over. It's over. I mean, Dana said some very final things. I mean, not that he hasn't. before. But it sounds like John Jones is going to be forced into retirement, which is a shame because I did want to see him murdered in the cage. I don't plan to stay there. Just get a good quality education and move somewhere. It's not a bad idea. Go there for a couple of years, get out. I used to know a guy who neighbors with Jonathan Jones. I love the fact you're calling him by his full name as well. Back when he was first starting and living in upstate New York, I bet he could tell you some stories. Mysterious men going in there in the middle of the night. So yeah, those are the 3 or 4 fights. I'm not sure how many I named, but those are the 3 or 4 fights I would have gone for. So if I could have the ideal, if I could have had the ideal UFC White House card, it would have been Ilya versus Makhachev at 165. It would have been Jones versus Tom Aspinall versus Alex Pereira for the heavyweight title. I would have had Sean O'Malley versus Corey Sandhagen. It's just a fight I've always wanted to see. And then finally, Diego Lopez versus Yair Rodriguez, just for the hate. Oh, and I would have had Sean Strickland versus Hamzat Chimaev. I wouldn't mind seeing Tom versus John Jones. Start him off. It's not a terrible suggestion. I just don't like seeing John Jones get rewarded for anything, and I just don't want to see him succeed anymore. Okay, real question for a change. What fight got cancelled before the announcement, do you think? I reckon they were probably going to do Alex Pereira versus Tom Aspinall. I think that's what was going to happen. And I think that Tom just said he wasn't ready for it, and they've had to make the call to Cyril Gahn. That's what I reckon. Because I don't reckon that was their first choice. I honestly don't. I was actually a semi-finalist for a fully funded Japanese government scholarship, but the competition is way too much for me to handle. The Japanese are weirdos as well, mate. Jones versus Gahn was probably in the works. I don't think that was ever happening. I think they were blowing smoke up John Jones's ass. I honestly believe John Jones when he says that they were talking to him, but I think they were just chuckling in the background and had no intention of letting him in there. The way that Dana spoke about it after, if you've seen the UFC, the post-fight UFC 326 presser, Dana White was very final in what he had to say about John Jones. He said outside the fact that he has screwed them over with the Tom thing, and they've got a soured relationship now. He mentioned the injuries that he's got and how cooked he is, and that they were never considering him. You're also married to a Filipino, and I'm half Filipino. I'm not married to a Filipino. How you doing, Kyrie? What's good, man? Shout out to Kyrie and his channel. If you are, again, an MMA enthusiast, which most of you are, subscribe to Kyrie. He talks about MMA and he talks about politics quite a lot of the time as well. So shout out to that. I didn't think you could get scholarships in other countries. That's interesting. You must be really good at what you do. I didn't even know that was a thing. Undergraduate fully funded scholarship. I mean, that's mad. They usually do it in very prestigious universities when somebody is like really impressive in their field and they want to get them to represent the university. With $1,000 US dollars stipend monthly, I mean, you'd struggle to live on that, but it's better than nothing. Information engineering. That's very plausible to me. He's married to a very, very rich Chinese woman. Starsmoff, you know the Frankie Law very, very well. You know me better than most do in here. Do you watch RAF? I watch highlights. I don't tune into the cards because I watch Gay Corn already. I don't need that shit. You know what I'm saying? I got a scholarship to an African university till I realized I got racist riz. Till they realized I got racist riz. Imagine what an African university scholarship would look like. Yes, you can have 4 chickens and a goat. And you can sleep in that hut over there. That's deeply racist. I'll take that back. I don't take it back. You just have to apply to the embassy of Japan. That makes all the sense in the world to me. It really does. He's married to a very, very Chinese rich woman. It's funny how the meaning of that changes just by switching the words around. How you doing, Albania, Albania? Shout out to you, man. I think somebody's kicked Albania out already. That was harsh. Japan government has promised to start mass deportations, but it hasn't started yet. Japan's in a lot of trouble, and they're weirdos. What do they teach at an African university? Exactly. You should apply to the University of Mogadishu. It's very good, Beyblazer. All right, guys. You know what? Yeah, I'm really enjoying myself right now, but I have I have like a little bit of laundry to finish off, and I've got to get prepared for work tomorrow. Let me have a quick look here, because while we've got some good numbers in here, we've got 29 in here right now. By the way, if you haven't liked the stream, please do so. I can see that in the granite. Now, if you guys want to do me a favor, head over to In the Granite. This guy is an absolute sweetheart. He is currently watching the Zuffa card. Head over there and give the boy a sub and jump into his chat. He'd really appreciate it. I can tell you, coming up, doing this YouTube thing is painful, yeah? He's got 5 people in there right now, and he just started 23 minutes ago. Get in there and give the guy a chance. Just imagine, I can just imagine the look on his little face while he while at least 5 or 6 people flood in. Hopefully more. It would be really nice for him. The laundry is your diaper. Bro wants to goon and is using laundry as an excuse. I didn't even know what gooning was until a few months ago. I really didn't. And have you heard of these things called females? Some of you refer to them as cum deposits. I personally don't, because I've got respect. UK has reached max capacity on mud dwellers. All right, guys. By any chance, do you know about Beyblades? I do know. I've heard of them. I wouldn't say I'm an expert. Anyway, guys, I'm really sorry. Head over to In the Granite. I'm going to head off right now. I do have some stuff to do. Head over to In the Granite for a little chit chat. I'm going to make a concerted effort to come on during the week, because it's 2 weeks until I go on holiday. And I need to make sure that I want to get some ideas for you guys from you guys about what I should do for in real life streams over there. Because I always say that I'm going to do it, and then I end up going over to a bar and then just live streaming from there, and it's not that entertaining. Well, it's entertaining in the sense that it's a little bit different, but it's not that creative, should I say. So I'm looking for some ideas from the boys, because it's less than 2 weeks now. It's 13 days before I fly out to Manila. So I need some ideas from you people. For every Indian, you need 3 Japanese to clean up. With 500k Indians, you would need 1,500,000 Japanese. It's just not possible. I'd say it's manageable. All right, guys, head over to In the Granite if you do not mind. I'm sure you'd very much appreciate it. Much love to all of you. I will catch you at some point during the week. It will probably be Tuesday or Wednesday. I know I always say this and I don't always deliver, but I'm going to try and give it a go. Shout out to In the Granite. Give the guy a chance, and I'll catch you guys soon. You should collab with uprising MMA stars. Nobody wants any part of this channel. This ain't that kind of place. Anyway, guys, much love. If you wouldn't mind hitting the like button on the channel before you head out. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. I hope you enjoyed the card. I know you probably didn't. I'll catch you guys, during the week. Much love. Shout out to you, Lane, and congratulations on such a hefty win. Well deserved. Nice to see you again, Star Smoth. I hope you come back in here soon. You've definitely been missed, brother. Take it easy, people.